he came to me at 8 years old, which is so cool for an 8-year-old to say, Dad, I want to go train with Michael O'Hearn. There's damage to do any kind of drugs for a teenager or 20-year-old. Stupidest thing to do because your testosterone level is already at a high peak.
Not putting weight on the spine is important for the alignment purposes, not for stunning growth or anything like that. Can't get any heavier than what you need. So.
So we are here to answer some questions.
Is training to failure necessary for strength gains?
Wait, for strength gains? Wow.
Yeah. I doubt.
Wow.
I doubt not strength gains.
No.
Right.
He means strength gains like to get stronger. Mm-hmm. Wow. I've never heard anybody ask that.
Never. It's always the other way.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. So somebody asks here. I'm going to let Clark, because this person obviously does not. You're very new to training. Jeffrey, give us your TV voice.
Hey guys, Jeff here. Is training to failure necessary for strength gains?
Did you get that?
No, I would say.
Wait a minute.
Training to failure.
Mm-hmm. For strength.
Yeah. Okay. No, it's not necessary.
Why?
Because the goal is not to go to complete exhaustion. It's similar to what you were doing with Bryce down there. You're building through a series of thought out sets and reps and poundages in an effort to reach a certain strength. If that's what we're talking about specifically, then you back down away from that. So if you're just going in the gym every day and going to failure, you don't have a plan that's thought out to take you to where you want to go. I mean, you have a lot of athletes that can't get bigger in weight, but need to get stronger. Therefore, they need to train in a way that's not going to make them gain a ton of weight, but be equally strong. Like we were looking at those judo players, for example. If you have to make a weight and be within a certain, weight limit, if you're a light heavyweight, you can't get any heavier than what you need. So that's mine.
Okay, so my first thing to that question, and again, so everybody that's new to this, the question is training to failure, just exhaustion, is it necessary for strength? Now, I'm confused because I've never heard any individual actually be that confused, because training to fatigue is muscle stimulation. It's not strength building, and I don't know of any powerlifter that ever did that, or successful powerlifter that would go into the gym and just train until he was completely fatigued. We go in with numbers, and then we try to continue to add numbers to it of poundage. But fatigue training, or going to that point, knuckleheads back.
But every video I watch on social media, on YouTube, on Instagram, it looks like every bodybuilder is just destroying themselves. They're just going in there and they're just going ham, going crazy.
You said bodybuilders.
Yeah.
Bodybuilders.
Yes. Which I understand.
In quotations.
I understand bodybuilders going in and doing that. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I agree with it.
Right.
But I understand bodybuilders. So the question just confused me personally, because he thinks that training to that level gets you stronger.
Yes.
When that has no,
it could actually
powerlifting
reverse effect. If you look at a powerlifter train, you'll see them put a lot of weight on a bar and say they're pulling for deadlifts. They might pull 2 reps, and you know that they could get more, but they stop at that 2 reps. I remember being confused, like, why did he stop? I think he could do more than that. Well, it's because he's not training to failure. He's training for a specific reason. So, it's kind of an open-ended question.
It hurts me because I realize society is changing and the way that they talk and everything. And now it hurts me that the fitness industry is getting just that much uglier. Somebody today said, hey, I'm going to fast today. Now, I just want to make sure that that's without water. And I'm like,
there you go.
I'm mind blown that somebody said without water. And then
they're going to fast.
They're going to fast. So that means no water
Uh-huh.
and no food. And I'm like, why would you go without water? Where are we going with this aspect?
Yeah.
And so when we started, it was pretty basic. Watch the guys that have done this. Watch the guys that are ahead of you. Mimic what they're doing, and then try to then ask questions afterwards. And today it's with social media, they just kind of go crazy. So
Well, we were just sitting in the gym, and it was like you were an apprentice almost like a plumber has an apprentice. You follow that guy around, and you learn just by watching and then getting an opportunity. Because I remember training with guys when I was younger that, like, when you got your set, and I wasn't like super strong like you, so I remember being nervous, like watching these guys wrapping their knees up and getting ready to go, and I'm thinking, my turn's coming up pretty soon. I'm going to get to go in with these guys, and then they would sit there and wrap your knees, and it was like this freaking event.
yeah,
It was an event, you know.
your set coming,
Yeah,
and their set. Oh yeah, you know.
it was fun then because that specifically, I remember a guy like sitting there the first time and a dude wrapping my knees. I'm just like, and walking to the freaking, squat rack and almost shooting through the mirror because it was just such a different feeling. But, you were there. It was, and I was just learning from watching, and listening, and then them just feeding information. So like you said, it is different. It is different. All right. We're at two different stages of this process right now. And this is a really fun question, and thank you for it. Because my son is 25, and because he played football his whole life, he got sick of lifting weights because of football, and coaches and all that stuff. But now he's got this new excitement for training. I'm seeing his body change. Ooh. You've got a 2-year-old who is...
My son's 1 year old.
He's one.
He's one. Okay, one. All right. He's one. He'll be one forever.
Keith Evans.
So... It's really interesting. So you answer it according to what you got going on, but it's fun to have.
Here's the great thing with you and me is that take that.
Mm-hmm.
You and me have trained kids, and I Oliver is one of my power bodybuilding crew. He came to me at 8 years old, which is so cool for an 8-year-old to say, "Dad, I want to go train with Mike O'Hearn."
Yeah.
And then they got a hold of Mona. They came down. They trained with me at Gold's Gym, and I trained them. So here's the situation with training. I started at 8 or 9 is when I started lifting. By 9, I was in it. By 10, I was lifting and squatting and deadlifting and doing everything. My first meet was an Olympic lifting meet. At 13, at 14, I did powerlifting and bodybuilding. So I got some good training in before that. So here's the thing with kids, and I'm going to be really careful with mine, is that I don't want anything to mess with alignment of his back or anything like that, or slowing down any kind of growth. So the first thing is I need him at his full capacity of height. And so I will probably keep a lot of stuff off his shoulders, off his back, off of movements like that.
And that's the point that I think needs to be emphasized here with that question, because there's a lot of people quoting data and research that hasn't been updated since like the 50s in relation to stunning someone's growth. That's why people think I'm 5'8", because I lifted when I was a kid. So no, I'm just freaking short. I mean, it has nothing to do with lifting weights. And with respect to what Mike said, not putting weight on the spine is important for the alignment purposes, not for stunning growth or anything like that. And you're not gonna. There's no research to.
It's actually the opposite.
Quantify
the height on stopping the growth and stuff. And they always said that too. I remember getting ready for teenage nationals. Well, this guy's this big because his dad put him on steroids or this or that. Now, that I do agree with, because it shuts down your own natural body.
You do agree with putting kids on steroids?
No.
That's what it sounded like.
It sounded like that? No.
Verify.
I agree that there's damage.
Okay.
There's damage. To do any kind of drugs for a young teenager or 20-year-old, stupidest thing to do, because your testosterone level is already at a high peak do not shut your body down from that natural growth.
Who inspired you?
Getting my ass kicked, not from my 5 older brothers, but my 5 older sisters. So our family was bred. Sisters were upstairs, the boys were downstairs. The whole downstairs was filled with equipment, training equipment. And my dad was a ball player and a bodybuilder, and my mom was a martial artist. So there's 10 of us in the family. So we have everybody ahead of me already competing in karate, in powerlifting, and in bodybuilding. So I'm watching all my older brothers and sisters do this at 6, 7, and 8 years old. And so by 8, I remember this too, because my sister Katie drop kicked me.
Mm-hmm.
It was
She's so
only
sweet.
she is right,
girl.
right.
Yeah.
But I came upstairs because there was only one shower in the house for 10 kids, and so I came upstairs, and we'd always, pick on each other and stuff. But she came around the corner and she goes, bah, straight down the pipe,
Just
knocked me down, and I'm sitting there going, my sister's kicking my ass. I need to get tougher, and that's really what triggered the full-on psycho 7-hour workouts at that age.
What helps you keep your routines when you've sustained an injury, especially at our advanced age?
That is more important to continue and to fix it as best I can and work things around it. I cannot slip so far away from the goal and the dream, because it will never, or me being so freaking scared, the little boy inside being so scared of being called a loser. See, you gave up. And I am still that kid. And so for me to lose the dream, that I keep fighting for it. So anytime like that, the chip on the shoulder, me be called you can't read, you're a special ed kid, all that kind of stuff, instantly back on owies or injuries or anything, that I'll do everything I can, chiropractic, massage, acupuncture, work the body around it, make sure the diet is even more perfect, which you already, I don't know if they know how anal I am when it comes to nutrition.
They've seen the evidence of your anality. And is that a word, Serge?
It is now.
Okay.
Of course.
You asked the Spanish kid. You asked the
Sounds like-
illegal.
It sounds like, it has, an origin.
But that's what keeps me going. The scared little boy.
Best way to cut water week
really?
before competition.
Ooh.
Does this sound
Wow.
like it resonates with some recent activities with you? Or?
It does kind of come in. Is there a best way? Well, first off, I've done it 100 different ways. And Clark, you could talk about this as well. I don't think there's, try to do the best game plan and then decide. But the cutting water kind of thing is up until hours before the show is still going on. So there's not like...
That's why you got to do phantom runs. I remember my coach was telling me you need to do a phantom run in order to find out what works for you. Because what works for him might not work for me. And
No,
Sergio and
stop.
Jeff-
Don't go further yet.
Sorry.
No, because we did a dry out.
Yeah.
Most of them messed up. I said, we're doing a tryout again. So a lot of these, my Titan crew did a tryout twice in a row. And that's kind of what you're saying, a phantom run. Test it.
Yep.
Oh, love that.
It's very delicate and it's very subjective to many different factors. So it's not even going to be the same every time you do it. Because as many times as I've done it, you can't ever really perfect it. But in all honesty, he's got it as close to a science as I think anyone can get it. And it's so counterintuitive. It's so against what you would think a human body would do when you're drinking 3 gallons of water in a day.
Yeah.
Like, really? We said we were drying out. Why am I drinking 3 gallons of water? That's complete opposite. Well, it happens and it works. So again, this all goes back to the whole coaching aspect and referring to the person who's done it, tried it, experimented, messed up, even messed up on a stage. Like, damn, I was here competing, I wanted to win, but I didn't time this right. I can't tell you the amount of guys.
Hold on. There's a Throwback Thursday video that's going viral right now of me. And during the video, Clark just saw it. We were watching it. So what I love is this. In the video, it shows me when I won the Universe in '95. And Clark is like, look at you, holding water, fat boy.
Looked soft.
And I won the universe.
AF, yeah.
And then it shows the 97 after that, where I won the universe again. And it was like, what a difference. But I love the fact that I'm on stage getting there. And you just said, even when you're on stage, you mess up.